here's the idea. Whenever I'm creating any sort of group image, first of all, I'll have created a rapport with the client beforehand. So therefore, I do my group shots, if I can plan it that way, after all of my headshots, because when I have them in the headshot space, I teach them how to use their face, how to get confident with their look, blow them away with how they can look, and then when they show up to the main image, to that group image, what happens is they already have that same confidence. So when they go in, they have the confidence inside of them. Whereas opposed to if I have to take them to that space and teach them confidence and approachability and all these other posing tricks while trying to pose their body, gets very overwhelming. So what we do is we build them up in the beginning. We teach them how to use their face. We show them how beautiful they can be. And then we bring them all together. There's one confident bunch, we rock. So when I'm looking at creating a team image, what I want to do is I want to create consistency. I want to create balance, I want to create connection, and I want to create teamwork. Because in your image, not only do you need to tell a story, but it needs to have some aesthetic balance. So first of all, what you have to do is connect with client, and you have to connect with them and build trust with them. Because they're about to pose 20 people, everyone's like, should I go, where should I go, how should I do? And the honest truth is, everyone's just thinking about themselves. So everyone's nervous, like, where am I going to go? How am I going to be? So therefore, you have to establish trust with everyone. The way you do that is through humor. You have to pose each person specifically while keeping the rest of the group entertained or engaged. So that's one of the big points you're going to see. What I'm going to be doing is, while I'm creating each pose, I'm actually entertaining the whole crowd to keep everyone engaged so people don't lose focus. So first, what I want to do is I need to know what my main important point. My main important point is I know that I need to have my CEO and my COO next to each other in the middle, standing strong as the backbone of the company. So therefore, I know in my mind, but I don't want to take them first because their CEOs and COOs are OCD or ADD on steroids. Not them specifically, but in concept. So I don't want to be messing with my client. I'd rather mess with all the other people on the team and then bring whoever I know has a short attention span in a little bit later. So what I'm doing is I'm saving my spot right in the middle for the COO and the CEO, and I'm building around it. Now, you could tell by getting to know people who's going to be comfortable on the floor, who's going to be comfortable sitting down, who's going to be comfortable close to another person. You get to kind of feel people out. I start off with symmetry, a little bit of symmetry. So therefore, I know in the front, I'm going to want two people that are going to divide the screen. So therefore, I have two people. And as opposed to pushing them together, what I'm doing is I'm pushing them apart, which is going to allow it's going to create a broader experience. So therefore, not knees together, because what happens is if you put knees together, bodies go away. There's not the closeness. If you put knees apart, meaning one person's knees this way, one person's knees this way, what happens is that their bodies come together and that creates more of a unified feel, more of a connection. Very big trick when posing anyone. If you want them to be together, what you do is you put their legs apart, the backs come together, and then their heads are close, and that's the connection that you want. Feels a little bit weird because you're having to turn away, but really it's magical. It brings them close. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking all the assets and I'm kind of feel out how I can run with it. So I've already set up two women and one guy. I want to balance that thing out. But he's a bigger guy and she's a smaller girl, so I'm tucking him behind, so I'm not wasting all this space on the big guy. I can tuck him behind the girl who's a little bit smaller and save myself a little space. Okay? Doing the same thing. If you notice, it's sort of even. Two girls in the front, knees apart, two guys on the side, building on the right side. Also, when I say right side, I mean camera right. Okay, now I run into a problem because I have a guy who I'm in love with, Avi Diena, but I have to place him. He's fun, he's exciting, he's running the sales team, so he's a big part of the environment, but he's also like fun, young, alive, and even though he's a little bit more senior in the company, but he's still fun, so I have to keep that environment. So I asked who's ready to go on the floor, and you have to ask people. Like, getting on the floor is not something that like everyone's fine with doing. So for when I show them, I can get on the floor, so I'm not like above them. Okay, so we're getting on. So I'm going to show them how to get to the floor, and also going to show them how to sit on the floor, which is a very crucial way. Some people just don't know how to sit. So now I figured Avi is the perfect energy, but we have a problem. What's the problem? Avi has never posed on the floor before, so therefore we got to teach him how to do it, and he fails miserably. Watch this. Watch. He's going to fail. He's going to sit down. He's going to sit like. Look at this. He has no idea what he's doing. I love Avi. Sit down, Avi. Sit. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking an ally who's a friend of mine, and he's a known friend of mine, and I'm actually poking fun at him, which makes everyone else laugh. Once I'm making everyone else laugh, I'm teaching the entire community how to pose while working with one of my close friends. I know he can handle it. He dishes it out. I can handle it. So therefore, I'm going to show him again how to sit. But really what I'm doing is I'm educating the entire crowd how to sit through Avi, who can handle the heat. But again, he sits like a... he sits like that, which is not the right way to sit. Foot in, yeah, that's not the right place for the foot. So anyway, and the guys are trying to teach him, like, how you doing this? What's up? So no, forget this, Avi. Sometimes one of the things is you try something, you think it's going to work. Sometimes it doesn't work. Move on. Nobody's got time. You just got to move. This is a professional environment. You got to move. No one's got time. Take another guy. This guy obviously sits a little bit too well. He's been doing this for a little too long. So you got to chill that guy out a little bit. But again, play with it fun. He knows where he's going. Balance that sucker out. Now that we did our first row and I'm comfortable, I'm going to start building this second row. And I know that there's enough people in the space that I'm in, I'm going to have to do a 3-tiered situation. Now remember, photographer is very important. The whole day I'm shooting at 2.0. I'm shooting right now with a Canon 28 to 70 2.0. So the whole day I'm shooting this beautiful bokeh 2.0 wide, gorgeous, beautiful stuff. All of a sudden I start shooting this. Remember, if you shoot this at a 2.0, everything's going out of focus. You're going to be messed up. So therefore, always stay cognizant of your settings, or else you'll pay the price later. Another big thing is, as a photographer, I'm here creating. So in some environments, when I'm photographing a wedding, other things, I'm not going to start moving things around. But this is my full, complete creative control, and I'm in charge of making sure this thing's perfect. I can never look back and say, well, there was a fridge there. What am I going to do, right? If I can, I'm going to create any part of the environment because I'm responsible for perfection. No one's going to ever take the excuses. So therefore, you have to own up to it, and you have to say, do you mind if I move the fridge? If the answer is no, I'll work around it. If the answer is yes, we're moving it. So therefore, this fridge was sitting out in the hallway. Why? Because we needed this perfect thing. I still have to remember that I'm keeping my open spot for my tube. So therefore, as much as I build, I have to make sure to stay comfortable that I'm keeping my unified spot for my CEO and COO. Now watch this, I move it out of the way. So now it's out of the way. But you're gonna see later, it's not far enough, and I'm gonna move it all the way into the hallway. So now I'm starting to work with the CEO. Am I getting him in? Now you don't wanna bore the guy. You gotta make sure that he's on top of his game. So therefore, I think I'm gonna bring him in. Let's see what happens. No, I'm still working over here. So now what's going on, if I see, let's see, right. So now I'm constantly adjusting. Now we have a problem. The problem is that there's not enough seating because I need my 3-tier situation, but I don't have enough with just my 3 stools. So therefore, I'm bringing in the red chair. Red is their company brand, ties into the background, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to cover most of it and it'll just feel pretty seamless. Now, I'm dealing with Will. Will's a rock star. He's also he's an athlete, so, oh good. So now I want to bring this 3-part series. 3-part series, Avram, mute yourself. So the 3-part series is the 3-part layer. I'm starting to look, where am I going to go with these people, right? So therefore, I have to ask people, now that I've got 2 guys on the ground, I need to fill that thing in a little bit more because I just don't have enough room. So therefore, I'm asking other people if they're comfortable. I'm not going to sit anyone on the floor. You have to be sensitive to people's needs and desires. Like someone, I think the girl in the red said, I'm wearing a skirt, it's just not possible. Get it, you know what I mean? Some people don't like to be on the floor. Like I'm rolling on the floor all the time, but that doesn't mean that someone else would feel comfortable there. So therefore, you have to ask their preference. If you're going to take people out of their comfort zone, you have to let them give you permission. Once they give you permission, then you can rock. Good. So now I have my 3-tier. I have my bottom tier, I have my middle tier, I have my back tier, and I'm starting to build. Very good. Same idea with the girls. If I remember correctly, then I don't know what the final image looks like, but maybe, yeah, see, I kick their legs the opposite ways. Watch what's going on every time. Kick the legs opposite ways, creates those leading lines coming in, backs closer together, and I have the connection. And remember, these are unified pieces that I use in all of my work, my wedding work, my portrait work, my family work, my corporate work, always. Now I got to my problem. My problem is Avidiana. Avidiana, you're always the problem. Just kidding, I love you. I'm stuck with my last guy. There's really only 1 spot left, and it's back on the floor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, so we're really going to teach him. Now, Avi, I may have just been pulling my leg earlier, but what I wanted to do is I really also wanted to get that C-level staff on the floor a little bit because he's in the trenches. That's what he does. So we got him back on the floor, and he rocked it. He got back to a comfortable spot, and he made the thing. He got back on the floor and he made magic. He did it. Look how comfortable that is. This is one of the biggest points I'll ever tell you. I tell people all the time. They say, how do you get images like this one? I tell people all the time that we're gonna get you perfectly posed, then it's stiff. And if I let you be yourself, then you'll be so excited. Ah! But then that's not good looking. So therefore what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pose you perfectly so you're the most flattering. And then I'm gonna pull out of you the expression. Perfect posing, then expression. So I pose the whole entire group. I get to the spot, what do I realize? The fridge is still in the way. Shuki on the left, he has to feel comfortable, but he's got nothing really to lay on. So he feels good putting his arm up. You know what? If people are naturally comfortable in a certain space, let it happen. Let it happen. Let people be themselves. That's where they're gonna be most comfortable. Photographers, work with me for a second. Here's what's going on. If your light source is in the frame, you're gonna get light in your camera, right? Just like blurry, hazy light, which is a fun thing, but not what you want in all circumstances. So therefore, I have a 5-foot Octabox, Profoto 5-foot RFI Octabox, bouncing off of a wall, big light source, creating an even bigger light source because I'm lighting 22 people in an entire room. So therefore, I'm shooting into a softbox, which is then opening up into a room, which is bouncing back into our beautiful team over here. Now, my assistant asked me, why are you shooting into a softbox, bouncing off the side? Just take off the softbox and bounce. The answer is, the larger light source I start out with, the larger light source I will create, which is the larger light source that will light my subjects. Now it's called the finishing touches. Got all the thing built, now I'm gonna finishing touches. This is where the real magic's gonna happen. This is the moment of truth. All the work until now was to get us to this point. Now it was the moment of truth. Oh, this guy was a rock star. Praise people about the good things they're doing. Because what's going on is, first I told him to put his hand in his pocket, thumb out, right? So therefore I did both, because that's safe. Then the next move is, he took one hand out. I was like, that's the next move. One hand in, one hand out. Then he did the next move, he put a thumb in the pocket, hand out, and only very cool people could do that. I was very proud that he figured that out. It looks very good. But praise people, because when you praise one person, it teaches the entire group. And the more education they have, the more empowered they are. The more empowered they are, the stronger the image becomes. Okay, everyone's coming out of the way. Again, I'm moving it ever so slightly, even though it looks like everyone looking at me is like, what's with the nuts guy? Why is he moving a 5-foot light 2 inches? The answer is, because that's what makes all the difference. Now I create one perfect image with a slight joke. The idea is, what you do is you set everything up normally, and then you elicit a human reaction. Peter Hurley, one of my mentors and teachers, always says, you get everything perfect, and then you elicit human reaction. So therefore, whatever human reaction you're looking for, that's what you're gonna elicit. Generally, that's joy, happiness, sometimes it's not, it's thoughtful. Now, one of the big things is you always show your people, because you're here, you're all set up, make sure your people see it. Because if they're gonna see something about themselves later, it's impossible to fix. Now, I mean, anything's possible to fix, but the idea is I can do something for 30 seconds, just go back and take the picture again, or I could spend 4 hours in Photoshop. I'd rather do it now in 30 seconds than 30 minutes later. Show everyone, everyone's happy, good. Here you take 22 people in a seemingly small environment, pull them together, showcase each one individually, showcase them as a team, and each person feels comfortable in their environment and also comfortable as a unit. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This is how we pose something. Avram, thank you for the idea to give you a little commentary behind this. Let me know if you guys like it. This is the first time we're doing it, and I'd love to do it more.